Hey guys, welcome back to another video. With the new Ashes to Ashes farming stages comes a lot of really difficult stages. So I'm going to try to break them down. Now I will be going over stage 6 in this video. I'm going to start off with a almost 100% free. There's only one legendary which can be swapped out with literally any other marksman in the entire game. And then I will go on to a team with a bunch of legendaries to maybe make it easier on timings and gear for you guys, which I think I'll start trying to do going forward. But I do recommend watching the first half, even if you don't really feel like it, because it will help explain the stage a little bit. That's what we're going to do in this video. Now, this team that I have been using, or I have beat it with, is this team. Now, the gear obviously is pretty solid, because these are almost all epics. Yuri is probably the best marksman for this because she does ult outside of her range, but you can swap her out with literally Yovar, you could swap her out. Silas, you could swap her out. Hex, you could swap her out. You could swap her out with friggin' Alora, potentially. I don't know if that would work, but it might. Basically, any marksman in the game, ideally a legendary. It may even be possible to do this exactly with Brienne, potentially. But this is the team that we're going to be using. Obviously, everything's A5. And this took me a while. I will admit that the timings are a little rough, but there are a couple optimizations you could do to make this a little bit easier on y'all. But we will be using this team. Also, the best way to support me is to subscribe to the channel. We just hit 10,000 subs, which was a milestone I never thought we would ever achieve. But of course, we could always go higher, which would be pretty sick. So if you want to support, that's the best way to do it. Back to the video. All you guys got to know about this thing is, to put it simply, there's a lot of flyers, but for some reason the flyers are not the problem, which is kind of strange. The beginning of the stage is pretty easy, I will admit. Once you kind of figure it out, you just gotta clear some flyers at the beginning, then a bunch of little guys will come that are very easy to deal with, and then at the end you're gonna get a barrage of incredibly hard to kill enemies that spawn from other enemies. It becomes very difficult, but with this strategy, it makes it a lot easier. So without further ado, let's get into the run. We're going to get in the run, and immediately you're going to see there's 4 flyers. These guys, if you place anyone too close, will just instantly nuke you. So you do need to deal with them. So here we're going to have Yuri dealing with the left ones, then Idril dealing with the right ones. Then you're going to see in the top left, we're getting a bunch of little guys. This is where Estrid is the GOAT. Estrid is probably the most valuable unit on this team because of the end, but of course, she deals with these guys very well. Then we place down our Isolde. We have 2 tanks for a reason, which is for the end, but for now, obviously, we can use the tanks pretty well. We're going to kill that wave and sell Isolde just to gain that unit back, and then we're going to place down Laurel. Laurel, you could do Spellcaster Echo, I think it's called, which increases rage. I didn't do that. She's going to stay there for most of the fight, just giving us another avenue to get rage. It was just more valuable for me than really using them as intended. Now you're going to see on the right side, there's a little minion. This is going to be the guy that spawns other minions out. This guy is the main problem. You want to deal with these guys as much as possible, especially near the end. For now, just click Dolores ult. Keep in mind that anyone else's ult that you trigger makes Idril stronger, and we're going to deal with them like that. Then we're going to click Idril ult and Yuri ult. Yuri's really good because she can hit the guys at the bottom left and deal with them a little bit better, but you actually don't need to deal with those flyers, which sounds crazy, but you'll see later, they don't take a damage amount off from your portal. They technically don't even exist. They're just there to kill your units, so you do want to deal with them with Yuri if you can, and use Idril ult. And then when the top left group of enemies comes down, keep in mind that you can Estrid. We're just going to be cycling Hollow, we're going to be cycling our Laurel. By now you should be selling Yuri as soon as she kills the people in the bottom left. Just keep in mind that Idril is there to help. And also, these flyers do not matter. Here we're going to click Volca ult. Hopefully she's going to deal with things pretty well. We also have Idril here, if we need any help. I did click Dolores because I wasn't sure if we killed all of the little guys, which we did. And you can see the flyers go through, no damage. You can ignore them. You see those guys that are going through the stage, the flyers? You'd think you need to deal with them. Nope, they do no damage. All of the flyers in this stage are there to deal damage to you. They do no damage to the portal, which is the whole point. So obviously we don't need to worry about that. Here we're going to use Idril to help deal with the spawners. You want to use her in a way where the spawners are very, 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 you know, unimportant to you. Now keep in mind that you can click Estrid alt and she will actually hit below her. This is how we're going to deal with the left side just off the back of Estrid. Estrid is insanely valuable. Now here you should already be pulling Laurel. I was a little bit slow. If you can do it a little bit earlier, I do recommend. But we're going to just do that to gain Idril alt as well as Estrid. And we're going to Estrid right as the guy on the left starts to spawn things. The second you see him about to spawn, we're going to immediately click Estrid alt. This is the timer that you want to do in order to kill all of the minions and deal with the big guy on the left while also gaining back her alt because we're going to need it again. Laurel's incredibly valuable for this. Now, as you can see, we're getting a bunch of big flying guys. They're actually going to go onto the ground after a little bit, which obviously makes them blockable, which is why we have Avalon. It's why we have a Solde. They're just going to sit there the whole time. Obviously, we want to do a bunch of damage, and obviously this makes the spawners a lot more of an issue, but these bulky guys are so hard to deal with that this is the most efficient way to do it. Now we're going to get into the sketch territory. You guys can obviously handle this a lot better. Dolores, very valuable. Estrid, make sure she's there. We're putting down Laurel as soon as possible and spamming her ult. If you saw Laurel earlier in the fight, you're going to be fine. Now, this is also going to depend a little bit on Volca procs. If you have her exclusive artifact, you're going to have a much easier time. She's going to help you with the minions on the right, which is amazing. If you don't deal with that, then you have Yuri coming up if you sold her earlier when I did. Either way, if you didn't, then you could just use Idril and pray that she does a good job. And that is the stage. The stage is very tough. This took me maybe 2 hours to do using the strategy. But once you figure it out, only the end is tough. It's all about the end. Now, obviously, if you have more legendary marksmen, you're going to have an easier time, which is what I'm going to show you in a second. There's the damage numbers. Idril hit everyone. Estrid, probably the GOAT. And then Volca doing very well as well. Quickly, let's go over the gear because, you know, that's important. Lunaria does not get placed. Her gear does not matter. We have Soulbound on her, though. Next, going over to Idril. Idril's build, Idril's Gaze, and also Infernal Roar. Now, before people complain that it's ancient, this honestly is not that great, I will say. Right there, we have a low crit damage roll. Right over here, we have a low crit damage roll. Over here, we have a decent piece. I just slapped on Infernal Roar. Does not matter what it is. Infernal Roar works. I think that Soulbound works as well. Whatever you have. Try to do 3 attack mains, though. And then we have Warlord on the left. Wicked Vengeance works beautifully as well. I recommend trying to build her with a little bit of HP so she does not die to those big AoE guys that just fly through the screen. Those guys are very, very tough to deal with if you don't build some HP. Speaking of HP, Yuri has a lot of HP. You do not need this HP. This is because I was trying to have her live against those yellow flying guys, which do a lot of damage on their first hit. You don't need that because she never gets hit. So just build her with attack mains with Soulbound. It doesn't really matter what else you build her with. You don't need that much HP. Light Color is best artifact. Volca, build her with Soulbound. Once again, she's built with HP because I was trying a different strategy that didn't work out. Build her as DPS as you can. HP is not needed whatsoever. You want to use her exclusive. I was using the key. Key is not better. So if you have the option, use the exclusive for more AoEs. And then Eye of Sin if you don't have the exclusive. Then moving on, we have Hollow. Hollow has Invigoration. Try to build her with as much regen and attack speed as you can. Not only will this allow you to heal more frequently in between those big AoE phases where they deal a lot of damage. Very important that you heal as fast as possible, but it'll also allow you to get her ults off with Rage Regen, which is the whole point. And then Euphoric Orb is best. Going on to a Soul Day, we just want Guardian, as much HP and defense as you can. She never gets low. Bastion Ring as well for the extra block. She never gets low, you don't need to build her as well. Estrid, we just want to do as much DPS as you can. The thing is, she churns through everything like butter, and she kills everything so easily and so fast that you could put her with a bunch of scraps and she'll still kill everything in sight. You don't need her built as well. Shattered Hill, I think, works for her. I'm not 100% sure. Eye of Sin also maybe works. I don't know. If one doesn't work for you, try the other one. Avalon, same thing as the Soul Tape, HP defense, and Bastion Ring. Then Laurel, we want Wings of Grace, or you could do Invig. I don't think this ever really gets placed on anyone meaningfully, so I don't think it's really that important. Just try to have her built with HP. The main thing you guys need to know is just put as much HP as you can. Now, Laurel, you can put on this book, which gives you more rage after using a skill, which is ideal. Moving on to Dolores. Dolores, try to build her with more HP. Mine kept getting on 1 HP. Try to build a little bit more HP, but you want as much attack as you can. You want to have Invig or Wings of Grace, ideally. And then I did Golden Scarab. This gives a little bit more HP. If you build her with more HP, you can do something like Keen Wisdom. As some substitutions, Diao Chen is much better than Dolores. So if you have that option, obviously go for it. You can boost Esther's damage as well. Then we also have Yuri, who can be replaced with almost every single marksman in the game. Tanks can be replaced with any tank in the game. I do recommend Isolde because she boosts up Estrid. Obviously, Lunaria can be swapped out with Yovar. It could be swapped out with Araka. There's a lot of substitutions you can make. If something makes sense to you, just go ahead and try it and see how it works. Now that we understand how the stage works, this is the team I will be using. Basically, just tossing in some legendaries like Silas, for example, and Calypso. We're going to put Silas the same way that we put Yuri. We're going to put down our Idril. Then we are going to grab our Diao Chen and swap her like that for the extra damage boost. Here we can click the ultimate with Silas just to clear that as soon as possible. Clear it, sell him, Estrid, bam. The A1 Diao Chen is also going to boost Estrid, which is very, very nice. We could do Idril, obviously always going to have the boost, so that's very, very nice. We can put down Oleg right there. He's not really going to take a lot of damage, so Oleg's not the tank you have to use, because these guys do like no damage. But either way, we're going to add him there anyways. We could sell him once we no longer need him. Put down our Hollow. Then we can put down our Calypso to build up stacks. We're actually going to put a marksman on the right because we have 2 legendary marksmen. So we can put them like this. Now, Calypso is going to kill it. Silas is almost going to kill it. You see the difference? Legendaries versus, you know, not full legendary comps. It's pretty damn big. Now, this guy is going to be a little bit annoying, but we should be fine to deal with him. Just because. And as you can see, we're fine. Now, we can put down Araka here. You don't have to put down Araka, but I'm going to put down Araka because I can, right? Just for the extra help. Araka's not built at all, by the way. Here, we can click Silas ult if we would like. I think I would rather put down Idril ult. We can sell Araka, we don't need her anymore. I'm going to save Silas for the next group of enemies. As you can see, they're absolutely stomping everything in sight. Idril's going to do a great job at clearing the last couple enemies as well. As you can see, I mean, it is night and freaking day using Diao Chen. You know how hard it was to figure out Dolores? Diao Chen is just so much better. If you don't have Diao Chen, pick her on the Choose Your Unlimited. It's non-negotiable. Anyways, we're going to click Silas ult. We're going to clear that. We can sell them as soon as this guy goes out of range because we're not using Yuri, right? So we're going to sell them immediately. We can put down our Raka here if we would like. We're going to put down our Estrid ult. We don't have Laurel to refresh the ults, but we don't need Laurel to refresh the ults, which you'll see in a second. Now here we're going to actually place down Torador. Torador's going to buff Volca a little bit, which is always nice, and it's just overall good, right? Idril does have her ult, so if we need help over there, we can get the help. But like I said before, these guys don't need to get killed. They don't need to be killed. The only issue is the first hit they do does a lot of damage, which is inherently an issue, yeah. It's not that big of an issue. So we're just going to let them through, as you can see, just fine. We're going to put Calypso there. We're going to put our Silas over there. We're going to wait for these guys to go through because they don't really matter that much. Respectfully. And you can see, now that we have 2 legendary marksmen, you know, it's easy. It's easy. You know, who even cares about the stage anymore? Like, it is so trivial. I mean, look, Acheron makes this easy. It's like the stage doesn't even exist. It's just a classic, like, the second you stop being held back, it becomes night and day difference. Here I'm gonna put down the tank. We don't need Volca at all, to be honest, because, I mean, we're not really struggling with killing the guys that spawn, because we have the legendaries on the side. Here we can use Estrid like that. We can use our Idril if we need. We can use this just to heal up a little bit. Torador's getting low, for sure, but I'm not too worried. Now, that should be all of the spawners, but I still just want to make sure. Yes, I think that's all the spawners. We can sell that. We can put down our Volca again. We can sell Calypso. And we've won. Torador still has an extra life. Oleg's not really getting that low. We can quick Zolt if we need the damage reduction. And now, we've won. Easy. Look, bam. That's how you beat it. So, if you guys don't want to go through the suffering of doing the no lots of legendaries route, just do that. And you can see that Silas, despite being incredibly strong, didn't even have to do much. His basic attacks were enough. Just use any marksman in the game. It doesn't matter. If you have A1 Diao, use her. If you don't, you can use Dolores, but it's a lot more timing intensive. Anyways, I hope this helps you guys out there. That is stage 6. Make sure to check out my stage 5 or 7 if you are struggling on either of those. Those should be up around the same time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. And that's it for me, Destined signing out.